This is David Lee Goodman, and in this video we're going to show you how to find a house hackable home to purchase using Zillow and also using my website. If you're in the Nashville market, you can just go to dlgoodmanproperties.com, scroll over to the Investors tab, and click down to house hacking listings or multifamily. So I am a real estate investor and real estate agent and property manager. I got my start from doing exactly this, buying my first primary home and using some space in that home as rental income to generate income. When I first got started, I was really interested in finding a multifamily home. That was what I was looking for. What I quickly found was, even in 2014, the multifamily home market was hot and it is competitive. I'm competing against people like myself who are looking to buy for themselves and to live in it, people that are willing to pay more than what the rental income is going to generate. They're willing to pay more money because they're going to live in it. So just jacking up the prices on multifamily homes, and it almost made more sense for me to kind of switch that up and change what I was looking for and looking into single family homes that had the potential to have an area in the home that I could rent out, right? And so in Nashville, there's a few different ways of going about that. And what I found and what I've kind of come to fall in love with is the Tennessee basement hack opportunities, right? Just kind of scrolling through here. And back in the 1960s, we were building a lot of ranches. And this is a really hilly terrain. And so what we were seeing was there were builders that were building these super solid brick ranches, and on the front they looked like this single family, like one-story home, but in the back, that's where you were getting that extra basement space. And a lot of times they didn't really finish out those basements. So it is a great opportunity to add value to a home, especially if it is completely unfinished. Now, this isn't going to be a great option because this was a garage and most of the basement is underground. You do have a couple windows here that give it some potential that you could use the space, but what you're really looking for is a 60s ranch that has basically double the living space to utilize as more living space, right? So this is a cool looking house. Is this 1960s? 1955. The 50s were pretty cool too. I like some of the 50s houses because they're so interesting. They're gonna have the wood flooring, which is important. 60s and 50s houses had typically really nice wood flooring. That didn't really get into the basement. Oh, this has got to be good. Are there any photos? Give me some photos. Nope. It is September 2022, and we're in a fluctuating market, high interest rate market, but homes are still selling. There's definitely more inventory than there were, but good homes in good areas are still selling like crazy. You may get more than a week though, or two. I mean, the last 2 years, homes were off the market within the weekend. It's live on Thursday, and offers are being bought up on Monday. The market now is a little bit tamer. You might see a home on the market for a week or two, or maybe 3, but they are still getting bought up. So I think it's a great opportunity for buyers that want to find a good home that, well, and hopefully not get rushed into it. Yes, the prices are still higher than they've ever been, but that's because we're in an appreciating market, right? Any home that you're going to be looking at in Nashville, it will be the most expensive it has ever been in its entire existence, right? And that's exactly the point. That is the sexy thing about our market, right? So when I bought my first home in 2019, let's go to that. Let's get nostalgic. This was the first home I ever bought. 519 Dunley Drive. I bought this home for $163,000, and my neighbors thought I was insane. There it is, baby. That's the one that got me started. On this purchase, I refinanced it, pulled out cash, and bought my third home with it, and still sold it the next year for an incredible profit, and did a 1031 to get into more multifamily homes. But this is where it all started, and it was so ugly. I love it now, though. I mean, look at that. Paneling. So much potential to add value. So we rented out the top space, and then we finished out this basement. You know, we turned this into a living space, turned that into a closet, and this already had an studio apartment, mother-in-law suite that we rented out to basically friends. I later got into sober living, 2,800 square feet. That thing's massive. Leo Bermudez was my realtor, still does the work today. He's the man. And then this was what we did. We sold it off market, basically the same home. I didn't get a lot of photos of the inside, but we updated it. This kind of shows you where that living space was. But this is kind of what we're looking for with Tennessee house hacks, Tennessee basement house hacks. That is what we're looking for. And, I did add a few things to that home, but the real beauty of this home was that it was in a appreciating market like Nashville, Tennessee. I'm not a real estate genius. I just bought a home, lived in it because it was cheaper than renting, made more sense than renting, especially with having someone else living in my basement and paying me every single month. I sat on it. I lived in it for 8 years and sold it for $300,000 more than I bought it for, right? And in that time frame, I bought 4 different homes. But it was all with the foundation of this first house hack. And that's why house hacking is such a powerful strategy. You've got to live somewhere. And in Nashville, yes, you're going to be paying a lot of money, but if you're living in the home, it's worth it. Your rent's not going to be much cheaper. Like, the price of living here is high. And when you're living in a home that's appreciating 20%, 30% a year, rents are going to lag behind that. But if you live in it for a year and then look at rents after that year, you will find that rents have gotten closer to catching up to paying off your mortgage and expenses. Or you might be at a point where you are able to cash flow that property. When you're looking at Tennessee basement hacks, you have the opportunity to kind of rent it out either by the room or potentially rent it out as more of a duplex kind of situation where you've got a private entrance on the bottom and entrance on the top. You just have a lot more options. Now, I wouldn't call it a duplex because you're getting into some fuzzy areas there, but what's to keep you from having renters that are renting by the room, that have private entrances to their rooms, right? The only difference is that the utilities are going to be shared, and there's easy ways to kind of work through some of those issues. So that is one way to bring your rents up, is either by renting out of the room or renting by the floor. So I hope this helped. It's not super complicated, guys. What you're looking for in Nashville, in my opinion, is a finished basement apartment that you can finish out and add another living space. If it's unfinished and you feel like tackling that, even better, because now you're adding a lot of value to the home by adding a bedroom and a bathroom. If you want something that's a little bit more finished and ready to go, turnkey, then you can just search for finished basements and look at those. I told you early on in this video that I didn't think that multifamily homes were the way to go at that point, and they really haven't been since then. But right now, September of 2022, things are changing. I'm seeing multifamily homes sit on the market a little bit longer than they ever have before. So this could be a great opportunity to look at multifamily homes in Nashville. And as interest rates go back down, those assets are just going to continue to rise. Just keep in mind, when you do a cash out refinance on a multifamily home, appraisers are looking at multifamily homes a little bit different than what they're looking at single family homes. So there's pros and cons on both ends. I had an opportunity to buy a triplex, and I'm so happy with it myself, but there are pros and cons of looking in either one of those markets, right? So just make sure you're working with a realtor or other investor friends and mentors that can kind of guide you on what you're looking for. There are some pockets of Nashville I really don't want to be in. They're very few and far between, and they're very, very small pockets, but some of those I don't want to be in. And a lot of those are areas that are primarily multifamily homes, right? So, like, if I do buy a multifamily home, I personally prefer to put it in a neighborhood that is surrounded by single-family homes. There's little nuances like that. If you're looking to finish out a basement or add value, make sure you're working with a realtor that's connected to people that know how to finish those basements out for the right price. You don't want to overpay when you're doing these things. That'll kill your budget right away. More information about house hacking in Nashville, just come back to the website, dlgoodmanproperties.com. If you want to work with a realtor that knows what he's doing and has done it himself, you can click get started or email me at david@dlgoodmanproperties.com. If you are house hacking in Nashville and have gone about it a different way, or if it's changed your life like it's changed my life, feel free to comment in the comments below. Would love to hear from you. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and until next time.